How dare you talk about my addictions like that, Donovan?
The guy's got 4 elf bars over here.
I like variety in my life.
The quad
The
elf
variety
bar.
is the spice of life,
The
Donovan.
quad stack. What are all your elf bar flavors over there?
I can't read. Mango, peach, apricot, dragon fruit, fruit berry, strawberry, kiwi, and grape honeydew.
Which one's your favorite?
I don't discriminate, bro.
Which one's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite.
What?
Right now, I guess maybe the kiwi dragon fruit. I like that one.
All right.
I like that one. Do that one.
Want to thank everyone for joining us here, Part 2 Salt of the Streets. My name is Donovan.
I'm shamefully Colin.
We're out here. Thank you for episode 140. First
That's
of
right, Deborah.
2023.
Dragon fruit.
Dragon fruit. An elf bar, Deborah, is like it's a little vape thing.
It's a little
it's
nicotine
it's
vape.
a disposable, right? When it's done, you throw it
Yep.
away. Yeah, it's just a little square disposable vape thing, but it's just called an elf bar. That's just the brand of it.
The brand.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're extremely happy to have you here. I want to remind you to like, subscribe, comment on these things, share it with all of your friends. Of course, she's familiar. All right, Deborah knows what's up. All right.
Yeet.
I don't know.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, I don't vape. I used to smoke cigarettes and then I vaped for a while and I got out of the game. So now I'm seeing all these different,
Smart man.
It's
It's one of my
very
New Year's
interesting.
things.
Yeah. One of your to stop using nicotine?
Yeah, for realsies this time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a whole deal.
Yeah.
But I should do it. I listened to a fucking Huberman podcast about nicotine.
So it's not like nicotine is not that bad for you, right? It's
Yeah, well,
all the other shit that's tied with it.
it can have certain perks and pluses when used in like severe moderation at specific times. But generally speaking, it's really not that good for you.
Yeah.
Even your brain and
How intense
then-
are those? Let me see when you're off bars.
there you go. Have one of those.
You just hit it? Is there a button?
Yeah, no, you just hit it. It's real good.
It tastes pretty good. The last couple of times I puffed in a vape, I took like a fat hit and
Yeah.
I'd be dying afterwards.
Right.
Pretty good.
They get smokers a lot because they really don't hit the same as like a cigarette.
Yeah, but
They're
it
very
has
different.
it has a little bit of harshness to it, like some bite. It's not like
Yeah, you feel it. Which is what you want. Which is the hard thing for a lot of people that try to go from cigarettes to vapes. Oh, damn it. Caroline is here. She heard me talking about it. Yeah, she's the one that turned me on to that.
I can
Huberman.
feel it in my lungs.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Tuned in right after Huberman podcast mention. Wow, I love it. Donovan's giving me shit for my nicotine habits, sweetheart.
It's just the funny you have
just a good
4 of
deal.
them. That's all.
Well, it's, once you start to feel them get light, you're like, this is going to run out. I better get one so I don't
You
end
can
up.
tell by the weight.
Yeah. Well, because, they're loaded with stuff, and as they get lighter, you're like, well, okay, I don't want to be in a bad spot during the middle of a podcast. And then next thing you know, I got a collection of them.
That's awesome.
But 2 of those probably won't last the day. We'll put it that way.
I haven't smoked nicotine in so long. I got
got a little
head
buzz
rush.
going on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, man.
nice. It's nice.
It is nice. It can
nice.
do that for you. But not if you're a habitual user like me. Then you just need it to survive.
Right.
Sweet Lady nicotine is, I think, comparable to the addictiveness of cocaine or heroin.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's like boom right
Yeah.
there. But anyways, we're not talking about me today, buddy.
No, I
We're
like
not-
it. I like it. Our sponsor for part 2 is
Elf
Lexi
Bar.
Kyle on Twitch. It's Elf Bar. No, it's Lexi Kyle on Twitch, of course.
That's right. Yeah, she got a lot of good streams in this last week.
Yes,
She's
so-
playing a new game. The new God of War Ragnarok.
Okay,
is
she
the
did
new
end
one.
up getting it.
Yeah. So she is playing the hell out of that, and with the first fucking part of that game, is a tearjerker and a half. Like it's a big cutscene type game, so a lot of
Yeah.
it like you're watching this thing go along, and it was even for me who's like a passive. I haven't played the first one, but it's, I've watched it all go down, and then I watched her play this one, and I'm sitting here going, oh my God, man. Oh my God. Spoiler alert. Like basically the equivalent of a child being present while his dog is dying. Oh man, it is rough, broad.
Animal stuff always gets me.
Yeah.
The animal stuff always gets me.
Yeah, it was real good though. Real good. So yeah, make sure Lexi Kayo on Twitch. She's
Yes.
got a lot of good videos out there. Just did a bunch more while she was in town.
Like, subscribe, and comment on that as well.
Indeed.
So do you like things on Twitch? I've only watched a few Twitch videos.
I think you like the clips.
Clips.
But yeah, follow, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards.
There you go.
Especially because it also vicariously helps out the podcast because it helps out the whole family. Look
Love
at that. What are we going to be talking about today, good sir, in part 2?
Part 2, we're staying national. So part 2, we are talking about Speaker of the House vote, House rules, omnibus bill. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about, it's tied in the DOD. They failed an audit, so these are all tied. We'll get there. The very first vote from the new official Congress under Kevin McCarthy as Speaker was to overturn the IRS. It was to take away the funding, the new funding for the 87,000 agents.
I thought it was abolish the IRS and the federal income tax.
They have vowed that they will hold votes for that. This first one was just to take away the funding for the new agents.
Oh, getting everybody on on record voting for the IRS. That's going to be great come campaign time.
Grand Theater. That's precisely correct, Deborah. That's part of the issue that I've run into this. Like, and we talked about Matt Gaetz. I watched him last night, so I heard his justification for it. Like you said, we're going to get people on the books. We're going to, put on the record what we want to see done, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're wasting a bunch of fucking time and money, just like the government does. You're doing the exact same thing you're bitching about other people doing. It's wasting fucking time and money because nothing's going to come of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I get a tissue real quick?
Yes.
Thank you.
But that's whatever. It's just a difference in opinion, I guess, on
we
how
can fight a
people
little bit
should go
about
things.
I'm a big fan of everything that went down. Big fan. Even though, like, I agree with everything you just said, but also I'm a huge fan of it because, I mean, what is money nowadays, anyways?
Yeah. No, we'll get into it more because I think it'll be a good discussion. So,
but before we get into that, I'm going to interject with a little something else. What is more national than the National Football League?
Oh, all right.
Playoffs are starting. Seahawks, our local
now.
team, will be kicking off. Yeah, right now.
Playing the 49ers.
The 9-8 Seahawks are going to be playing against San Francisco 13-4 in the first.
Beat the shit out of us.
Yes, they are. But I will be interjecting semi-regularly as we go along to get updates on this.
They've got a fucking squad and a half over there, dude.
But I wanted to talk just a couple minutes of football real quick because we were looking at this the other day. None of us were really that tuned up on exactly who's in the playoffs and who's not.
Yeah.
But looking at the two conferences, the AFC, you've got the Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Ravens, Jaguars in the playoffs. I think we already knew about this. I mean, it's probably going to come down to Bills, Chiefs, or Bengals. One of those three are going to be taking that one for sure.
Yeah.
Because they are just, all three of those teams are fucking nasty.
When you had a couple of teams in wild card slots, so
yeah, I mean the Dolphins,
the
Chargers, Ravens.
Yeah,
and then Ravens could be sneaking up. You never know. They've been doing some stuff, but
yeah.
But then on the NFC side, that's where we get really confused because the NFC is just shit this year, basically.
Yeah, a lot of it's real ass.
Yeah,
so but three playoff teams in one fucking division. That's how terrible it is.
Including the New York Giants, which should say something. But Giants, Cowboys, Eagles are 14-3 apparently, 13-4. 49ers, Seahawks are in.
Good.
Yeah, that's after I didn't really think about that when we were talking the other day. Who's going to take the NFC? Yeah. Probably. I'm thinking Eagles or Tom Brady will pull out some stupid playoff magic because the Buccaneers are garbage this year.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't think Tom has the juice anymore. No. I mean, he had juice enough to get him to the playoffs, but that's it.
Fucking barely.
I don't think that he could win another bowl.
Yeah, but yeah, so that'll be interesting. Just looking at that list, you thinking probably Eagles going to take our division, our conference?
The Eagles, the Cowboys look pretty good. The 49ers look really good. As soon as they signed Christian McCaffrey, they look really changed. Good. I know. The Vikings offense is high-powered. Like, Kirk Cousins really sucks ass, but Justin Jefferson catches the ball like 14 times a game.
Yeah.
So
stupid.
And they just score a lot of points. Mm-hmm. Their defense is not particularly good. They score a shitload of points. So I think the Vikings could eat. I mean, it's possible. I think the Eagles probably are going back. But that feels too easy to me.
So you got an Eagles, 49ers, Vikings probably thing going on. I like that.
And the Vikings by accident, not because they should be there, but because they happened upon it.
Just like how the Seahawks are even in the playoffs at all.
Shouldn't be there.
Kind of accidentally got it.
Right. They just have just enough juice to get them there.
Okay. Well then I'm gonna some prediction time. I'm gonna go Super Bowl's gonna be Bills, Eagles.
That would be a fire Super Bowl.
That would be a fire Super Bowl, which is probably why we won't get it, but it would be awesome.
I definitely think the Bills are going to the bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely think the Bills are going to the Bowl. Their offense is insane, and their defense is really good too.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see the Bengals go because the Bengals are fucking fire. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Said we are wishing I want Tony
Dorsett.
Dorsett.
Yeah, Dorsett.
Dorsett. Cowboys back. Interesting. I don't know much about the Cowboys. So, anyways,
The Cowboys once were, fucking incredible.
It used to be
And
fucking
they're
money.
pretty good now. They're pretty good, but they're not what they once were.
first season in a long time, they've been pretty good, right? It's been a while.
They were pretty
used
good
to be.
last year too. Yeah. Dak Prescott, he's got it. He's got it.
Yep. Yeah, he's been good for him. Okay, so that was my National
I'm here for
Football
it.
League.
I'm here for it. I like it.
And then there's another football league coming back for the second year this year after the NFL. It's called like the AFL.
Oh,
you
they're
heard
coming
about
back?
I saw a commercial for them the other day at the bar.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess so.
So I'm going to try to be watching that, I guess, somehow.
I like it. They've had a couple of, the XFL got brought back
Yeah.
a few years ago and stuff. So
Wasn't The Rock behind that at all?
the first iteration he was involved in, I think maybe he did have, because like Vince McMahon was still behind it and shit when they brought back
that's
the
right.
XFL.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
they got some good talent out of the XFL though. The NFL, got some good dudes out of there.
I think the NFL's a pretty small organization when you look to like upper level college ball.
Yeah.
It's a small percentage of those people can rise up to something better. It'd be cool if there was something else. And it'd be cool to have more football in the offseason.
Yeah, I know, there's 7 rounds of the draft and there's 32 teams, so I don't know whatever 7 times 32 is, but there's only that many picks every year in the draft. So it's only a couple hundred people that get called up.
I'm trying to watch hockey this year. Hockey I'm trying to get into this year. So like Carolina and I have been watching a lot of like Kraken, and she's a big Oilers fan because she spent some time up in
Are
Edmonton.
they still called the Oilers?
Edmonton Oilers.
They're okay.
Yeah. The hockey team.
Okay.
And
They used to be in Texas, right?
I don't know, man. I'm like, this is my first year getting into it, bro. They could have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that the Oilers have always been, and I
thought
they
Oilers
still
was a
called
football
the
team.
Oilers?
Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers.
I felt like they were called something different now.
Nah, bro. Nah. Let me pull this up for you. NHL standings. We'll do that because it's a good deal. Here we go. So
No, you're right.
Atlantic Division, because I think they're in
Why did I think
our
they
division.
were called something else?
I think they're in our division. Edmonton Oilers right there. And we're number 3 in our division right now.
Oh, okay.
We've been
You're
smashing
right,
ass,
you're right.
dude.
It was the Houston Oilers. You're right.
Houston Oilers.
I'm thinking of football. I'm like, are they still fucking called that, bro? Like, I don't think that's what
I
they're
thought
called
there was a
anymore.
wired cross there somewhere.
Yeah, all right. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
But yeah, fucking, we're trying to go to
Thank you, Deborah. I'm
a
very
game
young.
here next week or soon.
That would be lit. I like hockey.
They're fucking expensive tickets out here, though. We just got that brand new stadium we got to pay for and shit.
Yeah.
So
Climate Pledge Arena.
yeah, that's But from like my brother's gone recently, Jake's gone, and apparently there is not a bad seat in the entire arena. No matter
sure.
where you're at, you always got a good seat. So that'll be good.
Did you know that the ice in Climate Pledge Arena is made from water runoff from the roof?
Oh, that's legit.
Yeah.
That just seems smart.
Yeah.
Way to go,
That's because
engineering.
it's like a zero emissions stadium.
Yeah.
Like it's the first of its kind, zero emissions. Yeah, you like reuse wastewater and shit. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think like shit water, but runoff and whatnot. They reuse all
the
of
sea
that.
life needs something to eat. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real.
That's right. That's right. We got to make algae somehow, right?
Yeah. But man, I did not realize how long hockey season is, man. How many games they play. I mean, they're right up there with fucking baseball,
Yeah.
man. Tons of games. The season goes till April, and then you
Yeah.
got Stanley Cup time. So
Because it's indoors, man.
Yes,
There's
'cause it's
there's
indoors,
nothing to
baby.
stop you from
Yeah.
playing all the time.
I like it. I like it a lot. So, but yeah, and it's nice. Like we just came off of a road gig. We did like 5 games on the road and smoked everybody, including the fucking Bruins. We just got done with Boston, fucking smoked out the Bruins. It was a whole deal. It was really, really nice. So we have a really good team going this year, and I'm excited to keep trying to get into it.
Do they do sets of games against teams or
One and done.
Okay.
One and done. I mean, they play each other multiple times.
Right.
But yeah, it's a one and done type of
Well,
situation.
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like baseball.
And they fucking play like every other day.
Yeah.
It's like you're on the road, man. You're playing Monday, you're playing Wednesday. You might play fucking Friday, or you'll have like 2 days off. But you're just go,
Yeah.
go, and that's a physical fucking sport, dude. Very impressive. Very impressive. I'm excited for my fandom to grow.
I'm into it.
You know, I went to Dick's a couple weeks ago, and they have a ton of Kraken jerseys, and I'm like,
I'm sure.
I have no idea who any of these people are yet.
No.
I really got to commit to start learning some people's
the
names.
The squad is pretty good from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty fire this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
'Cause
fire.
when they pulled from other teams when they expanded the league, right?
Yeah.
So
And that was an interesting question. It's like, okay, you start a new team, right? And the rule is, I guess in the NHL, you get like a player from each team or something like that. They all have to contribute.
And then high draft picks for the next couple of years.
But where do you pull your coach from? Do you pull him from like a minor league or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. There's fucking probably plenty of dudes looking for jobs as far as coaches go.
Probably.
You know, most of them are old players and stuff that then turn to coaching. Like that's the vast majority of.
Yeah, it's kind of rare you see like a hockey coach that doesn't look like a former hockey player.
Yeah.
Looks like you've been fighting for a long time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do this.
Down to business.
Let's do this. Yeah,
Okay.
we had to have a few laughs before things got real depressing.
Yeah. No, so we can do kind of a quick run of it, right?
Yes.
So Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, they took 15 votes for them to get there, which is I don't know if that's the most ever or the most in certainly the most in a very long time. I think the highest number before this was 12.
Yeah.
And that was quite some time ago.
Yeah. And the timing though was much quicker because we operate very differently these days.
Yeah,
I think
the last time it took
months.
Months. And these all happened in just a few days.
Yeah.
So let me see.
I think it was 4 days total about.
Yeah.
And it was like, 3 or 4 votes sometimes a day.
Right.
And that was that was the weekend of my hunting trip too, I think. Yeah, because I was driving out, I think, and you were like texting. I got a text from you at some point. You're like, "Well, he's in."
Yeah, it
they
was
did
like
it.
Saturday night. It was real weird time. But either way, it took 15 votes. He ended up having to make Kevin McCarthy. So the deal was, I'm sure most of us know by now that the margin they have is only like a 3-seat margin in the House. So they just couldn't afford to really lose anyone. And the Freedom Caucus was willing to kind of bind together and tell him to eat a dick for X amount of time until he made enough concessions as far as kind of the rules and committees and stuff were going to go that they were willing to vote for him. So there were a lot of rule changes that we'll get into, but as far as like kind of the direct concessions that he had to make, one of them was to let the Freedom Caucus have a lot of control over the rules that were being made.
Yeah, like the House Rules Committee.
Yeah, they cut it down to one person required to start a vote to get rid of the speaker. They're going to introduce a spending bill that is it's the same levels of last year. So they're going to have to, supposedly going to have to cut some things out of the debt.
Yes.
And they want to balance it within 10 years is what they're going for. And
Because what that is realistically is when every time there is a spending bill that's done, that's why I like so much money allocated over 10 years, years. That's what they call a balanced budget these days, is how all this money plays out over a 10-year period, which I think is fucking laughable because they change it up every year at that point and then things get slashed out, blah, blah, blah. It's all fucking nonsense, but it's still better to have that aims, I feel. Like, you need to be able to balance it by the end of 10 years. If you're going to do a budget, it needs to balance. And that's what he's pushing forward.
yes,
I like that.
Yeah. And then guaranteeing a vote on congressional term limits. So those were kind of the 4 big concessions that Kevin McCarthy had to make to get the Freedom Caucus on his side.
Yeah. There's supposedly a sheet of paper with all the concessions out there, but only a select few people have seen it.
Yeah, one of the big things they were talking about was defense spending. Right? They're like, we need to pare back defense spending. It's growing every single year. So let me ask you this discussion question.
Let's do it.
What do you got there? But nothing they vote on can go through without Senate approval, just like... yes, 100%.
And even if it does, it's going to get vetoed by the old man upstairs.
Yes.
But
so, discussion question, let me ask you this, right? Why is it that the far right, quote-unquote, right, the far right Freedom Caucus is the only group that's asking to lower the defense of the Pentagon budget? Because they're far right. They're neocons, we're supposed to believe, that they were
they're
just...
far right insurrectionists, right?
Yeah, so why is it they're the only group that's asking to lower the the Pentagon budget? Why?
Because uniparty. That's
Okay.
I mean, that's it. I mean, realistically,
Expand, yeah.
even the progressives are, holding their lane. Everybody. It's all just the establishment shit, man. That's what this really was. It was a few people that broke away from the establishment status quo to try to get some kind of change in there. And everybody that's in there now, I mean, including the squatties, they've all been there for at least a term or two at this point, right? They're established. They are party establishment shills at this point. They get away with a few things, but Nancy Pelosi, for whatever you want to say about her, has done a good job beating them fuckers to stay in line as much as they possibly can. Everybody, MTG, she got whatever little concessions she wanted to make sure she's on some committees, and then she's just going to vote for McCarthy at that point. She got what she wanted.
Right.
All these people,
They were all doing that when the voting was being done. MTG even made a video that she's saying, I heard about, I don't remember who it was, but she's saying that other people are back there trying to make concessions with him that are trying to get him jockey for their own positions on committee so they'll vote for him. When we're all supposed to be holding firm on not voting for him, they're making private deals.
Oh, yeah. Because that's what's going to happen, man. It's all just the fucking uniparty at work, dude. It's all the uniparty at work, and all these Freedom Caucus holdouts. It's not even the whole Freedom Caucus, really. It's just some of them. They're doing the same shit. They're just trying to get more of what they want. Some of it is meaningful and important, I guess. You make incremental change to like the rules and stuff, so maybe the House can work a little bit more. It could be a better representation of the people, perhaps. So you chip away at the block.
We got to pause here, right? Because this is where I start to have my first issue. Is like, I agree with what they're doing and I support it. Obviously, this is a step in the right direction. This lasts for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, right? You're talking about progress. This lasts for 2 years.
Yep.
I genuinely have a really difficult time believing that even they'll be able to build on this 2 years from now. I think that the uniparty is going to coalesce and come together as much as they can to force these fucking people out by the time the next Congress comes in.
Yeah.
When 2024 rolls around, they're going to be doing everything they can, whether it's the squad is gunning for them or the fucking neocons. Everybody from all sides that was just inconvenienced by them is going to be gunning for them because they all stand to lose money if they have to cut back from the budget.
Yeah. I mean, one of the possible rumored concessions that is being bandied about right now is a promise, which will I'm assuredly be reneged on, but a promise from McCarthy at that point that the GOP will not essentially stand in front of or fundraise against future Freedom Caucus members in their elections.
Yeah.
And so basically it's don't stand in our way. You're in our own party. Let us get elected if that's what we're going to be elected on. You can't try to cut money from us. Don't try to screw us over in our elections, right? Whether or not
those people, Matt Gaetz in particular, like he does all his shit is grassroots funding anyway. He's not like a big heavy donor guy. And
I mean he's down in Florida. Every district's going to be different and have their own little games to play, but I don't really disagree with what you're saying. Like this is 2 years and it's totally temporary, so this is all just kind of a waste, really, because it is. I think it'll be interesting because you never know any of the changes in the House rules. Some people might find advantages that they didn't think that they would find, or they might find. So that might become more popular, and maybe some of that might be held over in the next Congress. Because we technically 2 years, but also it's the fucking House of Representatives, and it's a presidential election coming up. So this is really going to be a year and a half at best of any kind of legislative action, which also is going to be the equivalent of a Democratic-led House when the Republicans have the Senate and the executive branch. Anything they do is going to be theoretical and what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be like they're just going to do it for. It's like when Nancy Pelosi passed H.R. 1. Like the House just passed. Yeah, for show. Yeah, it's just for show. So.
And that's my
I definitely
concern.
understand.
Like, I don't want to fucking pat these people on the back if you're not actually making the institutional change that you claim to be laying the groundwork for.
Well, let me ask you this.
If they would have to really, form a genuine coalition with like other youth, like the Squad and shit. They would that is necessary to cement these changes. If they don't convince anybody else other than the Freedom Caucus that this is a good idea, then I don't see how this sticks around. And we're back to the same fucking swamp that we had 5 days ago.
I understand, and I pretty much agree with you, honestly. You can't find a way. Just trying to think about all the scenarios. You can't find a way this is going to last.
And I'm not trying to be negative because I like I said, I like it. I like what they're doing. It's a step in the right direction. But what is the fucking point of this if you're not...
Like, you need to get a broad coalition of Republicans and Democrats to be doing this. Like, if that number was like, if the holdouts and stuff, if there were some Democrats in there and a bunch of Republicans in there, it would paint a different picture because you could say this is more than 20 people. But 20 people in a House of 400 plus is... But also, you have to ask yourself the question of, like, would it be better if they didn't? It may not add up to anything, but is it better if they all just voted in McCarthy and went cool?
No, I think that I genuinely believe the only way to institutionalize this type of change is for, and I did that live stream, right, where I was talking about it. They have got to, because the numbers are not different.
Yeah.
All these people are still Republicans, and the people they claim to be working with are still Democrats, right? You're not taking numbers away from any of these people. You're all still red and blue votes. You have got to have enough people, 20, 30, 40 people that will make a difference no matter who is putting legislation forward, that is acting on their own shit, that at the core of it is freedom and liberty for the people you're representing. What that looks like, you guys can have different ideas, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about AOC and Matt Gaetz, what they think freedom looks like is going to be very different.
Yes.
But if they're both agreeing to operate from the basis of freedom, that's the core of this party that we're starting right now, that we're going to operate from, that's good enough. Like, that's enough to start with, and you can come to some type of agreement after that on what your legislation looks like and how that's going to play out. But if you're still both active parts of that party and you're not really taking any power away from them, I don't see what the change is.
Like, you'd almost need like a Thomas Massey as the leader of a third party in Congress.
I think that's
and
the
that would be a one that is not started from the outside, one that is created from within Congress.
Yes.
A coalition of members that band together in some kind of broad umbrella, freedom, liberty-minded party that has lots of opposing views, but can always come down to, like, what does this have to do with freedom and liberty?
Yes.
If everything that you talked about, whether it be fucking like Medicare for all from like a more progressive member, or like a 2A absolutist, if both of you got down to a foundational freedom and liberty type of ethos for that party, you could build a broad coalition of people and actually have some real life fucking power and maybe even some meaningful debate.
And that's why I'm saying someone needed to stand up and call people out on both sides. Say, you agree with me, you agree with me, you agree with me, and so do you. And I'm asking all of you to lay down this sash that you're wearing of this color and come with me to start a new party that has the goal of the freedom and change and power that we were promised when we came into this office, because we're all being fucking hamstrung by this leadership structure, by the way this power structure is done inside of this body. We're all hamstrung by it. We don't have the power that each individual member should have. So I'm asking you, form a new coalition with me that is from both sides of the aisle, that is no longer part of either of these parties, that is actually going to install institutional change in these bodies that will last, because we are varying ages from 50 years old to 25 years old, and we're trying to get this fucking shit done. And you might be out next year, but I'm going to be here until the end of my term limit, and I'm going to fucking bust my ass. Instead, like, well, let's get some fucking votes done.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? We're going to have a vote on term limits. Isn't that fucking great?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Just
we're
like
gonna vote on it.
Yeah, we're going to have a vote on the IRS. We're going to have a vote which are totally and utterly meaningless.
I know what you think about that already, because you're telling me.
Yeah.
I know that. I can get a pretty good guess on how these people are going to vote on all these topics. I don't need you to put their name to it. Got a pretty fucking good idea, right? Pretty good idea.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Freedom Caucus is nothing more than control opposition. I'm a little vague on what this concept of controlled opposition is. Is that... Do you have a rough definition of what that means? I mean, is that a group of people who are pretending to give pushback?
That's my understanding, is that we're all still cut from the same cloth, but you are opposing what I'm going for right now. But in the end, it's
because it's better for us in the end.
Yes.
Okay. And it was planned. Yeah, I don't know, man. I will say one of the things that Matt Gaetz was pushing for, and I don't know if they fully got that in the concessions, was the giving C-SPAN control of the cameras.
Yeah.
Which is why this was the only time we got to have all these various angles and shit of people wheeling and dealing and sitting with each other and bullshitting, and all the bad lip reading and shit came from that. But that would be a really cool thing, I think, that I think would be very, very popular. Could maybe be institutionalized, because you could weaponize that going forward. If you're an insider, if you're a political, if you're a politician, you could definitely use that to your advantage.
Yes.
But Matt made it pretty clear that only work for 1% of the American people and foreign investors, not we the people. Yeah, he did make that point pretty clear yesterday. And I was so happy that he was fucking on.
It's a good
choice. That was a good grab, man.
Yeah.
Shout out. I imagine Cassandra Fairbanks usually does she gets all the major guests, and then they kind of do the booking from within there. But she gets a lot of them. She's the one that got fucking Kanye West and stuff, and Milo, all those type of people. So I'd imagine we have her to thank for making some phone calls to get Matt Gaetz in there.
It was a good episode.
Although I gotta say, man, I wish Matt Gaetz wasn't the guy. He is kind of a creeper. I get bad vibes, man. I get bad vibes.
He seems like an asshole.
He's talking about going out afterwards and drinking margaritas and partying and having tequila, and I'm like, I trust that you actually are probably going to do that tonight. You're going to go back and party it up a little bit, because
he said alcohol, tobacco, and firearms sounds like a good night.
Exactly, man. Which I could respect that, but also I don't trust you, bro. You're a creeper. Your head is so big compared to the rest of your body, and I don't know if I could trust you.
He does look like a cartoon character, like Beavis and Butthead.
But hey, you know me. I'm a very shallow guy. I judge a lot of books by their covers.
He's got great hair, though.
He has amazing hair.
He's got great hair.
Yeah. If just proportionally, it was a little bit more proportional, I think he'd be throwing fucking tens around.
He's an interesting looking cat, that's for sure. He's just an interesting looking cat.
Yeah.
He's not ugly, but he's definitely not a man dime. He's just an interesting.
He ain't no Ryan Reynolds, baby.
Yeah, he's an interesting looking cat.
Yeah. One of the things I think is more institutional, or will cause more institutional change that came from this, is getting very specific people on very specific committees.
Yep.
And because, as we all know, committees are the way anything gets in through the House, right?
Money, investigations, anything.
Yes, and I think that will
His body has gotten too small.
Yes, I'm not alone. Thank you.
The head's still big.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you remember fucking... I know you're probably too young for this, but Nintendo 64, GoldenEye
Yep.
on big head mode.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what Matt Gates is, bro.
Yes.
He somehow or other it transferred to him. He must have played it too much as a young guy.
He probably has that briefcase gun too.
Yeah. I love the briefcase gun. Oh, I will say, unfortunately, that game does not hold up.
No.
You try
no,
to play it,
doesn't.
like you could deal with like the cartoony graphics and stuff, but like we don't realize movement in the old school first person shooter games is so slow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Jake and I did this thing a while back where we plugged in his old PS4 and we played some of our old school games. We used to stay up all night fucking playing, and we were like sitting around drinking beers playing these fucking games. They're really stupid hard now because they're not very good for user interface. How about the 72 hours mandatory reading time for new bills?
I think that's a good thing.
At least
These
for
are
a
the
couple
rules.
years.
Yeah, these are the rules for the new rules for the House.
Yeah. Open amendments on all bills.
I think that's good
That is
because
good.
the omnibus bill was passed with 0 amendments.
Yep.
They're just for fucking slam it through.
I think it's the hair and probably some makeup as well.
Well, his hair when he's in Congress is like real. There's a lot of sauce to it. You
A lot
know?
of sauce.
Like last night on Timcast, it was just down. It wasn't. He just was soft.
He had fresh hair, you know?
Yeah, but when he's at work, it's real done up. He looks like a Who from Whoville because it's tall. He's got mad volume. It's yeah. If you
You're
pull
not
up
wrong, bro.
the Jim Carrey Grinch, he's got the same hair that the mayor did. It's like the same thing.
Okay, I gotta find that.
Yeah, when I very first saw Matt Gates, like, what the fuck is up with this guy's hair? So it's the Jim Carrey Grinch. Yeah. His hair's a lot like that.
The Mayor of Whoville. This is my favorite Christmas movie, by the way. I will say.
It's a good one. And now look up Matt Gates in Congress.
Google Images. Do your magic.
Okay, so look at some of these hairdos, right? Look at go
What
one
is-
to the left. I'm not hating because the guy he's got a shitload of hair, but that's sauce, bro.
He's a Who that never grew into his nose.
That's right.
I mean, it's wow. That's spot on, bro. How much time are you spending coiffing your hair in the morning, bud?
He's got more curls than that. I've seen it real curly before.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, then when it gets too much, you know,
Right.
he's got to slick back
Right.
like that. He's got to do that. That's just wild. That's a lot of hair, bro.
Yeah, keep going down, keep scrolling because I bet that there's better ones.
Some messy hair.
One right
Mine's
above
gotta-
that. Do you see what I'm saying?
That
Sauce.
is.
Sauce. Look, okay, so above that big picture, right in the middle. Do you know what I'm saying? Sauce.
Bro, that's some beautiful like 1950s hair.
He's a Who from Whoville.
This is highly uncomfortable. It's just he's kind of got that I could be a serial killer smile.
He's a creep. He's
Just,
a creep, that's
you know,
for sure.
I mean, politicians are creepy,
Yeah,
but
I'm here for it, dude. Like I'd like it.
oh,
So
with
I
the
like
stunner
what you're
shades
doing.
on, bro.
You're a creep. Even, I mean, he was found innocent of all the investigations, you know, and stuff.
Yeah,
I
Yep.
I wasn't even hating him for that, but it's a creepy looking dude.
Can confirm, man. Can confirm.
He's not there just for freedom. That guy's there for another reason.
Yeah,
Something else going on.
something else. I mean, is anybody really there for freedom? Maybe Thomas Massey. Maybe.
Rand Paul.
Yeah. And those are like hard maybes. And that's the best you can get is like, yeah, hard maybe. Justin Amash, he's not even in anymore, is he?
No. He was just there to hang out.
Yeah. They could have elected him a speaker.
Yep.
Could have.
Yeah, he had that whole thread about this is why I should do it. And
Yeah, it was a big, long Twitter thread.
yeah, that's awesome, bro. I don't
Yeah,
know.
go back home now because nobody cares.
I don't know. I mean,
It's not going to happen.
get him to do it then. I do it like I
Yeah. I like him a lot better after last night. There is something to be said, like long, and I mean, Timcast isn't even that long form of a podcast, right? But it is.
2 hours.
But it's 2 hours of conversational stuff.
Ain't no
you know what I
7
mean?
hours.
That's right. I'd like to see Matt Gaetz come on here for 7 hours and see how he does.
I'll grow the fuck out of Matt Gaetz for 7 hours.
Yeah, bud. I had to turn off the twins from the night before.
The Hodge twins?
These were the, what are they called? Like the Kuzniak brothers or something. They were original, like OG Trump reply guys.
Oh, okay.
And they're progressives, I would say, but, they can be rational, or they try to come at their views rationally. But that was one I had to have just on in the background. I couldn't like pay attention to that one because a lot of the shit they were saying was,
they were dumb dippers.
They were dumb.
They were dumb.
They're huge Biden supporters. Put it that
okay.
way. They'd vote for him over anybody.
That's no good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, back to the concessions.
Yeah.
Open amendments, adherence to spending plans. Yeah, we talked about that. Commitments on times that bills would come to the floor.
Yep.
That is a nice thing because speakers have total control at the end of the day of what hits the floor and when.
Yes.
And so if there is a bill coming, they say, "Hey, this needs to be on the floor at some point. Give me a time and date. We're going to do this." And it sounds like that's going to happen. And then, we already hit the specific people on specific committees.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
How much different do you think this Congress will be than the last one? And by that, I mean, the 118th Congress or whatever fucking number it is compared to the last one under Pelosi.
Well, I think on a whole, it'll be very similar, but with just from the other side. I think there'll be a lot of votes on bills that are doomed to go nowhere. A lot of votes on bills that'll pass with 51 to 49%, you know what I mean, that won't ever actually be taken up in the Senate. I think there will be no actual legislation done or any kind of acts or programs or anything like that done.
A lot of virtue signals, you think?
Yes, because even if you can get something where the Senate can be on board and it'll pass by a 51-49, it's not the Biden's already stated anything that comes out of this Congress, he's going to veto.
Really?
Already said it. So that's, and he's making assumptions that.
What a great president.
Yeah, exactly. So anything that would happen would have to be a veto-proof majority, which is only going to be uniparty type shit. And then
there's nothing that we want to see.
No, and it'll be 400 some people with 20 voting against it, or 21 voting against it, or something like that. So you'll have some holdouts in some of those uniparty bills, but it'll still pass, and then the Senate will pass it, and then something like that he'll sign. But other than that, it'll be some virtue signaling stuff. But at the end of the day, this is lame duck Congress session time.
It's potential that the only things that get signed by Biden are the budgets.
Gun control.
The budgets over the next, 2 years or whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah. And we all know there's a lot of Republicans out there that like common sense gun control.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But
Geniuses.
I would say nothing of substance will be done whatsoever. Because, we might have some investigations that'll get interesting. We'll put it that way. Jim Jordan is,
off, right?
They've kicked some of those off, and there's going to be more, I would imagine.
Okay, hold up.
Waiting for people to get on committees and shit.
See the article about the documents this morning?
There was another one? There was more.
Okay.
There was more found, right?
Yes.
At the House?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Even more documents at the House, right? Did you read into the article, though, or just see that? Okay. So let's talk about this for a minute, right? We'll take a brief pause on this. Still a national issue. So as you guys probably know, last week we learned that some documents had been found in November
before the midterm election.
Yeah, on the 2nd, before the midterms, some classified documents were found at Joe Biden's office in D.C., his think tank office, whatever it's called, the Biden Penn building or some shit like that, where he had his think tank at. Right? A few days after that, we find out that as his team immediately turns these documents over to the records, whatever. That I'm just it doesn't matter. He immediately turns them over to the records, according to them, right? But this happened in November, so we don't fucking know how long it took. We just know this is what they said. A few days later, we learn that as Joe Biden, and these are real time, right? These last articles are real time.
Yeah.
That his team is like, well, if they found these ones, then let's search all the residences, all the places that he could be for classified documents. At one of his houses in Delaware, they find some documents in a box in his garage, and then one document in a room adjacent. Third story.
His library.
Yes. Third story comes out this morning. More documents found in that room, right? But check this. The day that the one document was found, right, in his library, the person who found it didn't have the clearance to look at it. So he walked away. That same day, to my understanding, somebody with higher security clearance came in and found more documents. The same day. So why are we hearing about that 3 days later? If all of them were found on the same day, why are we just hearing about it now?
Because unless it leaks, we don't have to report on it. And so once it gets too big or too hot, we got to report on it because it's going to come out.
And the only factual differences between this situation and the one with Donald Trump are the amount of documents, the time frame in which they were returned, right? And
yeah, these are longer.
Right. And that Joe Biden was not president. He was vice president. Okay. And to that effect, there is still, regardless of what corporate media tells you, there is still some question from a constitutional basis on whether or not Donald Trump has the ability to, as president, has the ability to declassify any document that he wants at any given time.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like in theory, but it's never been.
It's in theory. Right. And it's all just depends on how you view kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, if you're big into what are the unitary executive theory, then you're like, oh yeah, he could do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
You know. But if you're
In
into
that
a
case.
real limited executive, you're like, he absolutely cannot do that.
Yeah.
Especially without telling other people. But also, what's his name? The Indian guy that was working for him was like, well, I was there when he said that he declassified some of these documents. You know, Kash Patel.
Cash Patel.
So that guy, you know, he said, I couldn't remember what his name was. But
Hype man extraordinaire.
yeah, he was like, well, I saw him, you know, like to declassify some of the documents or whatever. So who knows? Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
And I'm not neither here nor there. I think that's a bad call to give one guy that much power. So then we're even having a discussion on whether or not he has this power. This is not good. We shouldn't be here to begin with.
Yeah.
But so I'm not going to
Whether or not he has the power, nobody should.
I don't know. I don't know what the rule is. This is all silly to me at this point. You know, that argument. So I'll wait and I'll let the people in the robes tell me what the rule is for the game, and you know, then we'll talk about it then. But as far as I am concerned, you shouldn't. No one should be having that much control over anything. So
That's
as far
so
as
funny.
the factual differences, Joseph says, yes, they know they can't run him in 2024. No amount of cheating can overcome the pure incompetence of dementia. Joe, this is them starting the process of outing him. Oh, that's very interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
That's that's a theory going around.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that this is their way of saying, all right, Joe,
Disqualifying,
guess what? We out, man. Like we've already apparent in the media, in public perception, we've decided now
Because they already said that he was with it in the head. They already decided that you
And-
can't question whether or not he still has it.
But when you compare who or the for lack of a better term, charges they're pursuing against Donald Trump at
The
that point
allegations.
to make sure that he can't run for office again because of these you got these classified documents, blah blah. You can't be running for office again. We're gonna fucking indict you for this. We're gonna charge you for this. Well, the thing they're talking about is being in possession of classified documents, right? Improper handling of classified documents, which I've known of a person that has gone to fucking big boy jail where you break big rocks into small rocks because they totally accidentally walked off with classified material before. The next day, they fucking hauled them away with fucking Coast Guard CGIS, which is like NCIS, and that he was fucking found guilty of doing this thing, and there was nothing, and he went to fucking jail for a year. And that was that. But it happened. I mean, fucking Hillary Clinton.
Right.
I mean, it happens all the fucking time. And if you're in that big club that none of us are allowed into, it's fine. But if you're going to set the precedent that we got to go after DJ Trump here, we might have to let both of them go down because we don't want really Biden in this thing anyways.
Right.
So this is our excuse to go after. We're done. We can walk away from this whole thing. And I'm kind of a supporter of that because I do not want to rehash fucking Trump v. Biden again. I don't want to do that.
That was rough.
Put them both out to pasture, bro. Put them
Yeah.
both out to pasture. We could start fucking fresh. Let's do it. Let's fucking go.
It's better for the country.
It's better for democracy.
Yeah, I had not thought about that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Damn, I gotta pee.
Because we talked about how the morning shows that we've talked about before, like Start Here and all them, they were when they were actually covering these stories about the Biden documents, when they like to ignore a lot of stuff, and even they were saying, this doesn't look very good. They were definitely making sure that they outlined, the stark differences between what was happening with Joe Biden and what had happened with Donald Trump. But even they said it wasn't good. So that's very interesting. Thank you for that, Joseph. I think the biggest thing for me when it first happened that I thought is, maybe the left will finally have to accept, or at least the people shitting on Trump will have to accept, well, maybe everybody does this. They kind of all do this. There are, stories of many of the past presidents doing the same thing, taking tons of documents with them before they turn them over to the record. So this is not unique to Donald Trump or to Joe Biden. This is a thing that people in power do, is they break rules because they think no one is going to do anything about it, and they move on with their day.
Because they're better than us and they know it.
And it only matters when they want it to matter. When they don't want you in the club, that's when it matters.
Yeah, buddy. It's fucking great. So as just pertaining to this subject, I got a few videos here.
Okay.
To paint Joe Biden as the guy that he really is. So during the Mar-a-Lago situation, I don't know if we remember this video or not.
Okay.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago, what did you think to yourself?
Still, I thought
looking
the
at that
video
image?
wasn't playing.
I actually was thinking that too. I was like, what happened? What happened? I got to refresh?
Oh my God.
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera.
This interview, if we all recall, was done after the Mar-a-Lago raid.
Yes.
While he was already not under investigation, but they were already dealing with the fucking documents that they found at the stupid Biden Penn Center for China Funding. I mean, it was already happening to him, and he comes out on fucking 60 Minutes and be like, so irresponsible. I don't even know. And then we get into his response the other day, right?
Yes. To Pete Ducey.
Yeah, I think this is the one.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
Okay.
classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week,
God
people,
willing.
by the way,
Once he
my
dies.
Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But anyway.
Was in a locked garage.
Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously.
So, the
Super
Corvette,
serial.
bro,
Yeah.
it's next to, it's in his locked garage, Donovan. I mean, that's secretive. I mean, that is secure. Nobody breaks into a garage port, right? All of my garages are locked. Can I store classified documents in there?
Is it more or less secure than Donald Trump's house?
Yeah,
The one that he lives in right now.
Yeah.
You tell me. Is it more or less
Yeah.
secure than Donald Trump's house?
And remember, these documents have been in there since he was vice president. So years back, at least 6 years back at this point.
Bro.
So they've been exposed to
Because it was
100
after he left office,
Yes.
just after he left office, that he set up those offices in D.C.
Yeah, D.C. and then
So
his
the
home office and all
whole-
this shit. This
so
whole
the whole
time,
Trump presidency.
including for a time when Hunter Biden owned the house.
And why? And let me ask you, Mr. President, the same that you did to fucking Scott Pelley or whoever you're talking to. I have to wonder, why would you have these things? What information is on these documents? Why do you have them that you're going to sit on them for 6 years? What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Because apparently, supposedly, Donald Trump is trying to sell nuclear secrets. He's trying to profit off of, immediate government knowledge. So, what do you have that's going to be good for over 6 years? There's got to be some heavy dope if it's going to still be good.
We
in
gotta
6
have
years.
we gotta have some kind of material that Hunter can use to get those business deals locked into place, bro. How am I going to end up on the board of Burisma if I don't have something to go with it? All right.
That's what you think? Or
No,
that's just
that's just conspiracy theory 101. But another purveyor of conspiracy theories would be this Democratic representative from,
Let's
I
hear
believe,
it.
Georgia. I think he's got a theory and a half here.
My response to it all is that alleged classified documents showing up allegedly in the possession of
Allegedly. The fucking
Joseph
White House
Biden.
said it was there, you asshole. They said it's there. They all said that.
I think-
it's not like they just reported it. They reported that the White House actually fucking said that this happened after the FBI fucking told us this happened. They leaked it to us, and we said, "Hey, what's up with this shit that the FBI just said?" The White House is like, "Yeah, actually, you're right. That did happen," and now he's still saying allegedly, fucking allegedly, these documents happened. They said it happened.
You'll find out.
What an asshole!
You'll see what the framing behind this.
There's so much that needs to be investigated, and that's what I call for, is for everything to be investigated. But I'm suspicious of the timing of it. I'm also aware of the fact that things can be planted on people.
Get the fuck out of here.
Places and things can be planted. Things can be planted in places and then discovered conveniently. That may be what has occurred here. I'm not ruling that out.
His theory is that they planted documents
That's right.
in Joe Biden's house.
The
and
Republicans did it. They planted that shit. I'm just asking questions here, man. I'm just asking questions. All
That
right. I'm
guy's
not going to
good.
rule this out.
I wonder who he's actually friends with, because he's obviously not a real insider.
Well,
Or else he wouldn't be, unless he's an insider that's so deep that he's like, I'm just going to say whatever I want because I know that we're doing this to try and get Joe Biden to not run again.
Well,
But
judging by the way he speaks and his mannerisms and his ability to repeat places and things and places can be placed in places and things, sounds like he's been hanging out with Kamala Harris a lot. That's all I'm saying. So that's probably his friend right there. Is the future president of the country.
you guys have to understand, one slip of the tongue and the deep state can ruin his career worse.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's why he repeats himself so much, is those are safe words, places and things and places.
Allegedly. This is the alleged this,
Allegedly.
alleged this. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no matter what happens, I got to make sure I don't accidentally screw over the team here. But you did say the bad word of investigation, buddy, so it's over at that point. Karine Jean-Pierre almost said that the other day. They're like, yeah, we're gonna while
She's
the reporting continues or whatever it was. I was like, wait.
She's terrible.
Yes, she is. Can confirm.
She's like, well, the president said, yeah, no, we obviously don't fucking believe him.
Exactly.
So we'd like some more information. That's why
Yeah.
we're pressing you on us, because obviously he's full of shit and we need to know more.
Yep. Would you like to know the major differences that are being reported
Who
here?
is this from?
This is from CNN.
Oh,
From
love
the
it.
Congressional Integrity Project. So another
Oh, yeah, I
think
bet
tank
they're
by somebody.
super unbiased.
Yeah, but and this was, I think, in the first tranche of documents. This was just the Penn Biden Center. Is when this thing came out, right? The differences between the two situations, why they're so very different. So Biden had under 12 documents.
Under 12. What a weird way to.
So is it
just to
11?
try and make it sound better. Yeah,
Is
it's
it 11?
It's 11.
I've heard like about 10.
No, it's 11.
Well, I can count. I mean, if I need to bring out my toes here, man, I will count to 20, no problem here.
Under
This is what
12.
we're doing. So under 12, Biden personal staff discovered fewer than a dozen documents locked away and secure at an office. Well, if they discover them, how secure is it? Do they have top secret clearance to get a hold of those
They were
documents?
emptying everything out, supposedly,
Yeah.
of the think tank offices.
Yeah, and the Manila folder that was labeled personal documents had this group of classified documents in it.
Right.
Immediate disclosure to archives, documents returned the next day. The Biden Justice Department assigned a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to oversee review to avoid any potential conflict, cooperating
One
with
of
government
the few
agencies.
left because they've been weeded out and replaced.
Yes.
Might we add?
Textbook approach to handling misplaced classified material.
Textbook.
Textbook, bro.
I wonder which legal textbook they're reading.
Well, there are standard procedures
For how they should be turned over.
how anybody with like non-clearance should handle, what do you do as like a little, you know, you're a peon in the army, right? And you walk into your boss's office somewhere, he's gone because you need to take out the trash or something, and he fucked up and he's got a classified document on his table. It's labeled classified all to hell. You see that. What are you supposed to do at that point, right? Burn it.
Burn it.
Burn it.
Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Throw it in the memory hole and be
like
done with it.
the standardized procedure here, which is throughout the military and throughout the entirety of the government, is you secure the facility so nobody can have access to it, and you fucking stand guard and get a hold of somebody so that you control at that point. From the minute of discovery, you set the timeline. Okay, from this minute, the document was under control once again. We know who was in that room, who saw it after that point.
And you don't
because
look
until
at it.
that point, don't look at it. Yeah, definitely don't look at it. But until that point, like that's the reason. That's like the major problem with all of this at this point is that these fucking documents have just been fucking around for years and years and years at this point.
Who's seen them?
So yes, the hundreds, or no, I think it's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars that China has contributed to the Penn Biden fucking think tank. Were they there for meetings? What was going on? Hunter owned the fucking house where these things were stored in the garage for a period of time.
Are we sure that there's never been not one single CCP operative in and out of that think tank in the entire time the documents have been there?
Which kind of like, which kind of, you know, how many I should say.
Right. Yeah, Deborah, this is just the office, not his house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the office.
Yeah.
This was the very first one, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they compared that against Trump, right? 160 plus secret documents and top secret documents, repeatedly obstructed request, additionally highly classified material.
Repeated obstructed. It also sounds like his lawyers are kind of fucking dumb assholes, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I think we saw that during the impeachment hearings and shit. You know, not all those dudes are like top quality. They just charge top dollar.
Yeah.
Kind of what it sounds
and
like.
I mean, you know me, I'm not fucking some kind of like Trump defender here, but at a certain point, when you've been so blackballed by all of upper society and all this, you can't get a good lawyer. The only lawyer that'll work for you are the ones that will work for you. So it kind of makes sense
That's
at
how
that
he ends
point.
up with like Dershowitz and whatnot.
Yeah,
whoever it was.
whatever those people were, fucking crazy ass lady.
Yeah.
And Giuliani.
Right.
You know, the only people that you can get to work for you are your friends at that point, right? And they may or may not be the best lawyers.
Who happen to be lawyers.
So that's the thing, right? But that just paints the difference and the obvious duality in the comparisons and
it's
the reporting.
So different,
on it.
you guys. You can't even compare them.
Yeah, you can't
see
even
all the red X's and the blue checks.
I still see
how
fucking
different it is.
I still see nuclear secrets being thrown around here. I still see Trump was selling nuclear secrets.
He's obviously a terrorist. He's obviously a domestic terrorist who's trying to destroy the nation.
And the fact that like a lot, remember the pictures from the FBI, all these empty sleeves of classified
Shit
folders and all that
about,
stuff. Just put that around, and there was nothing in them.
Right.
It's like, well, that folder ain't classified, bro. The folder, what was in the folder was classified, you know? That's why the documents also, on every page of every document, it's classified on top and bottom, back and front. The whole deal. It's all marked up to hell. That doesn't insinuate that he burnt them or flushed them down the toilet or whatever the fucking narrative was at that point. It means he's got some folders.
Except for the people who found, the documents in the toilet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the shredded up pieces of paper that somebody found. Yeah. You know how you know that wasn't his toilet? It wasn't a gold toilet.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Trump only poops on gold toilets.
What's the fucking... They just happened to be burning the toilet. They just happened to burn documents that day and flush them down the toilet when he showed up.
Somebody took a picture of some shredded paper in a toilet, put it on the internet, and they're like,
Assholes,
"That's it,
dude.
that's it."
I hate it so much.
If you see it on the internet, it has to be true, right?
There is no deep state, Joseph. You don't know.
There is no deep state.
No deep state.
Oh,
it's rough.
It's
really
all
rough.
so stupid, man. I hate all of it. It's all dumb.
It's really rough.
Lock them both up.
Let's
Fuck
talk
it.
about this omnibus bill really quick.
Okay.
Right?
Let's do it.
Discussion questions. Why does spending always go up? Right? Because like, is there
Inflation,
are
bitch.
we truly to believe that there is nowhere in which spending can be cut? Right?
Part of okay.
You don't have to
Part of the
answer
problem
that if
with
you don't want to.
spending, right? Part of
Yeah.
the problem with spending is there are, what do they call that? There's discretionary spending,
Yep.
and then there's like mandated spending,
Yep.
which is things like entitlements and interest on the debt, shit like that. You can't not pay that stuff, so they always have to pay that stuff. Everything else is loosey goosey, and
Right.
the next biggest one is Department of Defense spending. You be fucking kidding me if you're not saying that, you know, a portion of Raytheon's budget that is what's the word I'm looking for? It's held up by the
Oh.
not
Yep.
supplemented.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's the word? Yeah,
Subsidized.
Subsidized. Thank you very much, by the federal government. You're not telling me you can't like cut back on that a little
Right.
bit? You can't cut back on like all the research boondoggles that are going on. Like every single one of them, it's all worth it, 100%. Like even the ones where we're fucking training like bomb sniffing dolphins and shit.
Well, and that's what I was,
You know,
and that's I have an article I can send it to you that of the Pentagon failing their audit again. It's like the 5th one in a row that they failed.
Oh, yeah.
They can only
we can't disclose all the dark money, bro.
They can only account for half of their assets.
What?
Yeah. The disclaimers
Half?
of opinion accounted for 47% of the DoD's total assets and at least 71% of the total budgetary resources. So they can only account for 47% of their assets that they claim and 71% of their budget. So at least a third roughly of the budget is so fucking black booked that we can't even tell a federal auditor where it is at, who feasibly has extremely high security clearance if they're auditing the DoD. And I'm sure a part of the asset thing has to do with, I don't know how many billions of dollars of shit we left in the fucking desert, you know? I bet that's probably 20% of those
Or
assets
like
that were like,
scattered around like,
don't know.
you know, sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh, yeah, you know, all
You
these
know?
enormous gun battles happening with the Mexican military, probably a lot of them are down there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
All these 50 cals with no optics on them that they're just firing into the air at planes. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that, you gotta check it out.
That's a whole
But-
fucking deal, man. Yeah.
So how do we look at this? Because again, this is the 5th one in a row.
Mm-hmm.
How does anybody who actually, you can't claim to even be pretending to do your job, even what is supposed to be your job. I'm not even standing for anything. If you're looking at this, seeing these audits and saying there's nothing we could possibly cut from the defense budget, there's no way.
Yeah, at that point, I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to get a job as a lobbyist here next time, so
Right.
I'm not going to go against them or
Because people like Dan Crenshaw will still, when it comes around, say, well, we
Fucking-
need raises for the soldiers, though.
Eye Patch McCain. You mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
So raises
yeah.
for the soldiers, though. If we
Yeah.
don't pass this,
They're
new
not gonna get
Defense
raises.
Authorization Act, yeah, they can't have raises.
You know what?
And then what do we do?
It's a good bargaining chip and a nice fat omnibus bill, ain't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could just vote on salary raises for the military. You could just vote on that. You could do that. But no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that because then I don't have a chip to play to get whatever else I want going on. Yeah, it is what it is, bro. You can't look at it and go, why can't you cut from? You don't ask questions like that. Okay, you can't ask questions like that because that's not what we do here. This is what we do. This is the system in place. So this is what we do here. We can't cut shit. You want to cut entitlements? We'll talk about it. You want to, I don't know, maybe talk about fucking funding for gender studies packages in Pakistan or whatever the hell that fucking continual fund going over there is. We could probably talk about that, but maybe that's covered under DOD. I don't know. Hearts and minds type of shit.
Here, let me read some more of this to you. The DoD as a whole, this is from, American Military, Jesus Christ. I have my shit all small so I can look. Yeah, AmericanMilitaryNews.com, right? The DoD as a whole also received a disclaimer of opinion, with auditors saying DoD management did not report materially complete balances in the agency-wide financial statements as required by the Statement of Federal Financial Accounting Standards. So even in what they reported, they don't have complete balances. The overall DoD audit assessment was also hurt by accounting problems with the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program, which provides the stealth fighters to the U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Marine Corps. The audit said, quote, the DoD is unable to provide or obtain accurate or reliable data to verify the existence, completeness, or value of its Joint Strike Fighter program government property. They don't even know whether or not it exists, this program or the equipment that is supposed to come out of it.
You know, guys, we started this thing at Area 51. We don't really know where all this money's been going, but look at these really cool jets that we got. All right? They're pretty dope, aren't they? They're fucking stealth fighters, man. Don't ask questions about how much money we spend on it. We don't know where it goes. We have these fighters. They're cool. Have you seen them? You know. Hey, the nice thing about this, too, this whole budget bill was passed 225 to 201. There was 9 Republicans that voted for it, apparently. 4 that didn't vote.
This is for the omnibus bill, or
Yeah.
just
The whole funding fucking bill. And that's the problem. I mean, what else is in there? Funding for Ukraine.
$45 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah. And then we have that fucking Navy general, or my God, Navy admiral that was they were at some kind of conference or something like that, and during an interview he said that at some point here very, very soon we are going to have to determine whether or not we are going to be funding, we're going to continue to supply weapons to Ukraine, or if we're going to be able to have enough weapons to defend to supply ourselves.
For our own ships.
And that's where we're going to be.
Yep. So we're still just sending more money over there. This morning I saw an article, or read an article, that I can send to you as well, that has to do with different European countries sending tanks and various equipment to Ukraine now. So there's going to be some tank battles that are going to happen now.
I think I have some articles about that for
it's definitely not a war,
segment.
though. It's definitely not an open war that's being funded by other countries, or that's being involved with other countries.
It's not a war.
You know, we're bringing Ukrainian soldiers to the United States to teach them how to use Patriot missiles. So they're going to be here for months at a time.
In Oklahoma.
So we expect this. They're telling you, right? Because it takes months to learn how to use a Patriot missile. So how long, if it takes months to learn how to use it, how long do you think that we're going to be over there?
Forever?
For a goddamn long time.
We spent more money on this whole endeavor already in less than a year at this point, right? We're coming up on a year in February.
These are your kids, man. These are your fucking kids that are going to go there.
More invested in this than 20 years in Afghanistan. I believe that was the stat I saw the other day. Which, you know, that's a thing.
That's insane.
I can't wait to talk about Ukraine next I almost said next episode, next segment.
We're done.
We're fucking done, people. We're done. We're out of here. What else is worth... I mean, how do you even deal with $1.7 trillion?
It's nice. Definitely nothing can be cut from that, you know.
Not even a little bit. I got to get mine, bro. 4,000 page... An over 4,000 page bill. I think it was like 4521 or something like that.
They got it hours before they were supposed to vote on it, right?
Yep. And who writes this? That was a good question Matt Gaetz was asked yesterday, right? Who actually wrote this bill?
Yeah.
Right? It's all the lobbyists involved who want what they want, who want how much money they want and all this stuff. They write it all up and they give it to our representatives and they fucking throw it all together, and our reps throw whatever they want else in there, tweak it a little bit, and then fucking... That's how you get 4,500 pages in an omnibus bill.
They just reformat it into, you know.
Oh, I'm very sure that it comes ready to be... These guys are professionals, man. Half of them used to be in Congress.
Right. They already had the letterhead and everything.
I've seen fucking House of Cards, bro. I know how this works.
Yeah. I bet that's disgustingly close to how it is.
I would imagine.
I should rewatch that show.
It's stupid good.
Did I tell you? Oh, fuck. I meant to say this when we were talking about video games. It's really off topic. I don't really want to.
Well,
Woman of the year or
do you want me-
douche of the century. Which one are you talking about?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
I don't know. Woman of the year or douche of the century? Oh. I think that's a reference to something that I'm not getting. I don't know, man. Garrett, elaborate. I need more to work with here. I'm not picking up what we're throwing down. Do you got anything else really on this giant monstrosity of an omnibus bill? It's all terrible. 1.7 trillion.
No.
You can't find anywhere to cut.
No.
Talk to me about video games then.
Yeah, so Fallout, right? I told you I've been really wanting to play Fallout lately.
Yeah, buddy.
I have been thinking about it, and I really want to play Fallout 3. That was the Fallout that I started with.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that if you have PlayStation Plus Extra or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
then you can play that game. They have it available
they do?
to play on PlayStation 4.
Fucking A, man.
And Jordan has been telling me for a long time that I need to take like a dad day, like a whole day just to myself to like do whatever I want. And so I told her that I finally decided what I want to do.
It was the Rear Admiral. That's what Joseph was
okay.
saying. That's who we're talking about. Thanks, Joseph.
And that condo in Gig Harbor, that her family owns, I want to go there for a day just by myself and just play video games for like a whole day.
That sounds pretty fantastic.
Yeah. So
Maybe
I
a
gotta-
6 of beers and order a pizza.
Right. And I think that I'll go there because I like to wake up early. I probably would go there like after the kids go to bed one night. Like, and I think the best way to do it, ideally, because I always feel guilty taking time like that being away. So ideally, we would have a holiday on a Monday where work is closed and I can just leave Sunday night. And that way they're like used to me being gone on Monday. So it's not weird. It's not an extra day or anything. And then I can just come home at regular time. I can wake up early as fuck like I like to and play fucking video games all day and then just drive home. And I think that's what I want to do.
You know what I need to do if I want to play video games all day? Just do it on an off podcast weekend.
Yeah, it's so good. So nice for you.
That's what I did the other day when I was sick. I was not feeling real good. And so I just couched it up and fucking played video games.
Yeah.
It was not a bad day other than feeling like I was dying.
I thought about it this morning, and I probably could have got a little bit of time in, but
I have a hard
should
time.
read instead.
I have a hard time doing anything 24 hours before cast other than cast stuff.
I had my shit pretty squared away, so I felt good about, about my ability to get it done. I only had like a little bit of stuff left to do, and it was late stuff that I thought about this morning, so it was no real problem, and it was good. I thought about it.
It was good.
And I just didn't fold the laundry, started to read. I'm reading this book about FDR,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is my...
Have you figured out what his folly was yet?
We're getting there. We're getting there. This is it. That's the one that I'm reading right now. This will be the third book because I've already read 2 this year. This will be number 3 because the new book club starts in February. We're recording the review preview. Deborah, we're recording the review preview after the show today. It will be out pretty much as soon as Colin finishes editing it. So next week we'll have the review preview, which will be the review for Jarhead, our December book, and then the preview for this year's stack. What the new book club is going to be. It's going to be great. I brought all the books. I have the stack. I have the first book. It's going to be awesome.
Can I make a special request?
Okay.
For your review preview show?
Yes.
Can you also, perhaps after you review and preview, or in the beginning, maybe do a generalized, how'd the stack go? How did it feel? How was your overall? How'd the year go with the books,
Yes.
the struggles, all that good stuff?
Yes.
I'd like that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
As your producer, I would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, no, and that's how it's going to be. The review preview for the December book is always going to come out. This is new, so we're deciding this year, but it's always going to come out in January
It's your show, baby.
because that's just how it's going to be.
Love it.
And yeah, no January books for that same purpose because we take time off. I got all this family stuff for Christmas and whatnot. We got time off at work and everything, so it works better to just start the book February. We do February to December, January off.
I like it.
Out here.
I like it. And I contributed this year. I got a book in the stack that which means I actually bought Oh wait, no, I gave that away. Never mind. I was like, I bought myself a hard copy because I'm actually going to read it this time. But
There
then
you go.
I gave it to somebody as a Christmas present.
Yeah, and I have the December book is still open. I don't know what I want for December yet. And then there's one book that I'm not married to. So I may
Charles Dickens,
I may
A Christmas
swap
Carol.
out with something else. So we got 2 spots that are open. We're gonna do one long one. I'm gonna try and do one that's split over 2 months. We have one war book that's gonna be the May and the June book. So it's gonna be good. We got a lot of good
Bilbo's in the house.
Bilbo! We're out here. We are just about to tell you what all this has to do with freedom and liberty, and we're
The
gonna
video
end
games, or I'm
this.
just-
And then we're going to end this segment, take a quick break, and come back for part 3. We're talking international. We're talking Ukraine. We're talking U.S. Virgin Islands. I know y'all motherfuckers been hearing about that.
yes,
Right? U.S.
because-
attorney been fired
Yeah,
just I don't
good.
know, 5 days after Joe Biden was there. Isn't
You
it
know,
interesting?
It's
Timeline,
definitely not a coincidence,
not connected at all.
or it's just a coincidence.
Let me
You got this?
take a sip.
Sip,
Let me
sippy,
You
sippy.
guys know we're clipping right now, so
We're clipping right now. That's how this works, guys.
Donna has to get ready. Iran moving warships to Panama Canal. We're gonna Google that in the
Great.
the middle.
Great.
That's nice. Okay, Colin, you always ask me, what does this have to do with freedom and liberty?
Wait. Since we're going to clip this, say, Colin, you always ask me, and then I'm going to flip over. What does this have to do with freedom and liberty? And then I'll go back to you.
Yeah.
Ready? Action.
Colin, you always ask me.
What does this have to do with freedom and liberty, Donovan?
Okay, this one is about your pockets and your future, right? We have continually ceded power and control over our lives to a governmental body that is happy to keep us as servants. Government figures claim to represent us, but are overwhelmingly there to represent corporate interest as opposed to yours. They give you crumbs from the dinner tables they occupy with global companies and organizations, slowly working to centralize and consume every bit of our power and labor they can get their hands on. No one is better equipped to control your life and future than you are. We need to take back that control from this bloated and festering wound of a government.
That makes sense. Give me some social plugs, and we'll do our be right back.
Yes, with that, obviously, thank you everyone. Like, subscribe this video, share it with all of your friends so we can do all these things. We may have to re-record that little segment there to clip it, but we will see. The fuck-ups are good. The fuck-ups are good. You can find us, obviously, Instagram.com. I'm at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram, and Salt of the Street on Twitter. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. You can find all this at saltofthestreets.com, including our own Instagram at Salt of the Streets, our YouTube.com, Salt of the Streets, Patreon.com/Salt of the Streets. Go there.
You did it
sign
again.
up, help us make more, better content. What?
You did. I think you caught yourself partway through. You Facebook.com/Salt of the Streets. Your Facebook, Instagram, all of it at Salt of the Streets.
Oh,
remember that?
Oh, I've been meaning to do that. Yeah.
But you nailed it.
I'm just so
You're in the zone right
once I
now.
get into the flow.
Exactly.
But
If that's not authenticity, I don't know what is.
go to the Patreon, subscribe, help us make more better
Please.
content, just like this. It's fantastic. So
And
we'll
then
be back.
You can
in
get
just-
more of us. It'll be great.
That's right. We'll be back in just a few minutes for part 3. Thank you, everybody.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every